What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning to another episode of Right on Cue Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Logan Chestnut, Small Batch Barbecue. Joining me tonight is my barbecue brother, Mr. AJ Johnson from the New Island Barbecue team. And then first time in a long time, Mr. Houston Lyle, also Small Batch Barbecue, joining us tonight, man. Houston, it's been a minute. I have missed you, my friend.
Back, baby. I'm back.
President Trump has pardoned Houston.
I made it out of my ICE detention, and now I'm back on the show.
It's more like President Page has let this man come hang out with us tonight. That's exactly what it is. El Jefe, we know who it is.
You know, you got to go where your bread's buttered.
That's right.
Your bread's still buttered?
Is it toasted?
Every now and then. Every now and then.
Well, Father's Day was this weekend. So yeah, that's one of those days.
Wow.
Glad to have you for it.
Look at AJ. Look at AJ. AJ's like, Pearl's gonna get my ass. I can't be talking about this stuff.
Gotta keep it PG-13, guys. PG-13.
No, man. So how's your weekends gone, man? AJ, you had an eventful one down there in Ditto.
Oh yeah, man. It was good to get back cooking, man. Got one this weekend. Piece of Q. So we're gonna try to go down there and bring a trophy home. Hopefully.
Good luck.
Ginger Billy made an appearance this weekend at Ditto, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he made an appearance, man, after about a year or so. Finally got back on days. He was excited for that. We was all excited, man, to get him back on the crew. We got the whole band back together. So just gonna try to get back at it, man, in the fall.
Yeah, well, hey, man, makes it easier on you, man. You know, you only got to focus on one protein now. You got Justin on the chicken. So he's going to expect big things from your wrist, man. Big things. Houston, big things.
Real big.
Houston, how you been, man? It's been a month. Our listeners have been missing you. Hadn't seen your beautiful face.
Finally got out from under my schedule on a Monday night to actually get on the show.
Join on with the boys. He still hadn't made his barbecue appearance this year on the circuit, but we're gonna work on that.
We are indeed. I mean, I feel like we just got a lot up in the air this year. I mean, you and I both.
Yeah, we'll get it handled on the in the fall. Hit it on the hard in the fall.
That's right.
But no,
I've been strong on the back end.
Absolutely. I got to talk about my weekend.
Come on,
Let's hear it.
Nashville was a madhouse. I mean, Nashville's always a madhouse, but
tell me about it.
No, but all right. So Bonnaroo, rain happened. Bonnaroo gets canceled, and all those people. Dude, I feel so bad for people who are at Bonnaroo. Like literally, you get down there, Live Nation literally keeps you there long enough where they can claim a insurance claim, and then cancels on Instagram. Didn't even send a text out. Just said, "All right, guys, I need y'all to get the hell out." Well, we're good.
No, just selfishness.
No. Yeah. Then after that, they sent everybody from Bonnaroo. Essentially, it was in Nashville this weekend, so I saw some interesting outfits. I mean, you see some interesting outfits already on Broadway and stuff like that, but there were some very interesting outfits. There's some people thinking this is Coachella going woohooing down on Broadway, so that was fun. And then
it's a circus down there.
It is. And then I went to go see Kevin Hart. Saturday night. That was awesome, even though he was 2 hours late.
So what?
Yeah, 2 hours late. I saw him at the Ryman. I surprised my wife. We hadn't had a date night in forever, and I'm like, let's do it. So you got the hotel room. You went to go see Kevin Hart. He's supposed to come on at 9:30. Okay, 9:30. There's a 7:30 and a 9:30 show. And so the 7:30 show didn't start till about 8:30. And then at 9:45, there was a line wrapped around the entire block of Broadway and Ryman. And I pulled up in our Uber and I'm like, oh, dear God, please tell me that's not kept for the Ryman. I didn't know that many people could fit in the Ryman auditorium. And I pulled up and walked by the line. I'm like, hey, what's going on, guys? Like, because, there's a lot of stuff going on in Nashville. You never know. And they're like, "Oh, Kevin Hart." I'm like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" So I'm like, my wife's like, "Well, where are we gonna wait in line?" I said, "We ain't gonna wait in line." I said, "We got assigned seating. This ain't Southwest. We're gonna go to a bar, and we'll be the last one in." And that's exactly what we did. We went across the street to Assembly Hall, and we drank. What half the bar there was waiting for Kevin Hart. People had the same idea we did. We're like, "Mm-mm." It was like 120% humidity. I'm like, "Nope, that meat sweats." So Daddy's not gonna like be like a fat girl at a Ricky Martin concert. Like my shirt's not gonna be just drenched. So
Gross.
no, I know, right? We did that. Hey, for people who are visual, listeners, enjoy that one. Salty.
Yeah.
And then we checked out the show. It was good. Good time, man. Good time. He is shorter in person than I anticipated. Not on TV.
That's saying something because he's not big.
He is not a big man. He is not a big man.
I imagine you could probably straddle him.
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe.
Like standing up, but you just step over him like a kid.
play what you got? Leapfrog. How you have to jump? Which is good because I'm fat and white. I can't jump very high anyways. So it's great times. But man, we got back to barbecue. You got Pussy Q coming up. Is it this weekend, AJ?
This weekend.
This weekend.
That's gonna be. I'm sad I'm missing that one. That one's gonna be an amazing contest. I hope the weather holds out because I'm tired of this rain. This rain has been insane. But man, anyways, but let's get back to our show tonight. We got an amazing guest, a heavy hitter guy that I've been excited to have on this show. He's been one of the main guys that I wanted to interview for a long time. 8-time world champion, plus or minus 2. Who knows? I think more plus than minus, but I think it's 8. I think I got it right. This guy's been a trailblazer on the barbecue scene. He's been there, done that, kicked ass. A huge proponent of Operation OBR, and just all around great guy. So, without further ado, let's bring to the stage Mr. Mark Lambert. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man.
How you doing?
All good. All good.
Did I get it right? 8-time world champ.
7.
Lucky number 7.
Working on 8.
Well, I see the future. I called Miss Cleo.
I like it.
It's coming your way. I know, a little flashback for them. But Mark,
the last one that we had, the last one we won, I actually had a girl working on my website, and she put 7-time world champion on my website before it was published, and this was like in 22. And I said, "Hey, this looks good, but this is wrong. We've only got 6 world championships." She goes, "Oh, well, I think you're going to get another one."
Yeah.
I really think you got somebody told me, that I prayed about it, and I really think you're going to get another one. And I asked her about that. I said, "What do you mean you prayed about it? You mean like God told you that to put 7 instead of 6?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's kind of went like that." And I went, "Okay." And I didn't think much about it until we were driving home after our win in Memphis in May, and I'm like, "Oh my God." She called it. So I called her up right away. I'm like, "Hey, did you realize what you did?" She goes, "I didn't do it. God did that." I went, "Oh my gosh." I just called everybody I could to tell them, "Guess what? Guess what? She called a shot."
That's right.
So not only is he a world champion, he's the chosen one. He is ordained.
You see my shirt, right?
I know. And Jesus and barbecue can't lose, man. It's like Friday Night Lights. Clear eyes, full heart, can't lose, man. Can't lose. That's what Mark's all about. I mean, that's cool though, man. That's awesome. So, Mark, like I said, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I know you're an extremely busy man, and you have lots of better things to do with your life than hang out with us crazy guys. But thank you for taking your time out and talking with us tonight.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, I like to start things off like, every other podcast and every other interview you've done in the world. If you don't mind, like I said, tell the people who don't know who you are, which I don't know any of our viewers don't know who you are, but give them kind of a breakdown of who you are and how long you've been in this game we call barbecue.
Yeah, I didn't grow up in barbecue. I'm from Oklahoma, and didn't know anything about barbecue till I moved to Memphis to go to school. I went to Memphis State, and graduated, went to my first job with the phone company that did hospitality at Memphis in May, and just kind of got and started into the whole barbecue world through hospitality, and just, they pretty much told me I could go drink beer on the clock, and I was in. So we were, for a few years we did that, and then I guess they had a bad budget year. They cut the budget from Memphis Bay, and we all just had to pull our money together and resources and keep going on our own. That's when we changed the name to Sweet Swine, and that was 98, I think.
So were you just a big Guns N' Roses fan, or?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Just the name.
Graduated in 1990. That was my era, man. The GNR and Poison and Skid Row and all that.
Right, you're saying that like it was a controversial thing. Like they don't like Guns N' Roses.
So that is definitely a solid era of music there, man.
And it's just one of those deals, trying to come up with, going through, everybody's, spitting cheesy names out at the bar, trying to figure out what to change our. We were the Mobile Links, because our network on the phone company was the Mobile Link network, and
that don't have a ring to it.
So we were changing it, and we were spitting out all kinds of things. And, after about 20 beers, I go to the bathroom, and what's playing on the house radio but Sweet Child of Mine. And so I started kind of humming to myself, and it just popped. I ran out there and I said, "Hey, guys, I got it." They said, "That sucks less than anything else we've come up with. That's good."
Dude, that's exactly how me and Houston have made most of the decisions in our life. They're like, whatever sucks the least.
No, I hate it.
Is how we go. You're like, you know what? That's not embarrassing. Let's go with that.
Could be worse.
That's exactly how we come out with the name for this podcast. It's like we were spitballing. I remember texting Houston back and forth some crazy cheesy names, like it always. Because it's hard, especially nowadays. Like every name has been taken.
Yeah,
it's hard to be original. And so
we moved into barbecue, man, just by, like I said, and I just learned through osmosis through some guys on that team that really knew barbecue. One in particular from the Boonville, Missouri. He learned from his dad, and I learned from him. And then when he passed on, I kind of carried the torch as the cook, and started developing recipes and techniques, and just more of what he learned from him. And man, we're fortunate doing the right things in the right place at the right time, and did our research, and took advantage of the time that we had there when there wasn't as much information in barbecue. It was, you couldn't go on YouTube and learn how to cook a rib like Heath Riles, and you couldn't go on and learn how to cook a shoulder like we do, and you couldn't go and learn how to cook a whole hog like Myron Mixon. There just wasn't any learning available unless you just went out and experienced it and beat the bushes. And so it's that's just, we came up that way. Now it's a lot easier, but all it did was raise the bar. It's that much harder. Just the way it goes, man. With more information, makes things easier, but it also at the same time it makes it more competitive. So
absolutely,
multiple world championships since we've developed our own line of seasonings. We started with our original rub. We came out, I guess, really in 2005 was our kind of our initial launch on that. Since we've done another version on it that we use for chicken and brisket. It's funny that you can use it for both, but it works. It was developed for brisket, but we use it more for chicken, probably than anything. Eating chicken is our roasted garlic. We've got an apple chipotle rub that's really good on chicken as well. Good on salmon. A lot on pork steaks, things like that. And then we got a Texas beef rub. It's really good on brisket, great on eggs, funny enough. But burgers and you name it, it's good on everything. And this year we actually did a collaboration with Boar's Not Out Barbecue. We launched one called Texas Tornado. A lot of guys have heard of our Boar's Not Out's double garlic butter White Lightning.
White Lightning, yeah.
So we merged the White Lightning and the Texas beef together. People were doing it on the steak circuit all the time, so we just blended those two together, made it one product, and so we get a co-branded Texas Tornado now. That's really a good all-purpose seasoning for anything. We use it as a base coat for all our meats competition now. And then we'll finish up with something sweeter on the pretty much everything. Yeah, everything gets a little coat of sweet after that, but that's our base coat. But we've got some sauces as well. We've got an injection marinade that a lot of people don't know too much about. There you go. It's Sweet Brine of Mine. That one of the first ones on the market, and that to use sodium phosphates, and it doesn't smell like gym shoes. So
No,
a lot of those are out there.
It's actually pretty damn good.
Right?
A lot of those out there have that hydrolyzed vegetable protein, and it has that. It's got a lot of umami. I mean, a lot of kick, a lot of savory note. But man, when you smell them, it just stinks. And so that does not have that. But it's more of a brine recipe that has a little apricot powder in it. Got some sodium phosphate for the moisture. But you'd be surprised. Probably, I want to say, over half of the pork teams of the year in KCBS use it. And you may not know it. And I mean, it's people that have other products on the market too. I mean, some of the best cooks in the world, you wouldn't know they use that for. Some of them use it in their wrap. Some of them inject with it. I mean, they finish with it. So many different ways they use it, but designed as an injection. But I know guys that sprinkle their ribs with it and they wrap them. And I know guys that use it in their finish dust. A lot of different ways of using it, but it's a real good, clean tasting product that doesn't alter the taste of the meat. It just makes it up,
It enhances it, yeah.
And then we've got a Kraft Worcestershire sauce that we launched a couple years ago called Wilsonshire. It's got 3 regular barbecue sauces, kind of a middle of the road, sweet and spicy balance. And we've got a more vinegar one, and we've got a competition one. It's our combination sauce. So now there's a few products out over the years, but still hit the circuit. We don't hit as many contests as we used to do. We kind of pick and choose and kind of hit the big ones, and anymore we try not to travel, too far out of our way. But like you are this weekend, going to Puskew.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, you're going to Puskew?
Yep.
Oh man, have you been to that one before?
No, this is my first time. I always wanted to go.
I tell you what, as far as hospitality and as far as just the best trophies, I think outside of a major anywhere is Puskew. Like they really take care of you. It's one of those, like whenever I hear like they're having a hard time getting teams signing up, I'll say, what is going on? Like you can't ask for a better, setup like they do. And last year they had an amazing band and stuff. I was like, man, this is awesome. I mean, me and AJ, we had a little team building experience the night before and went to
it's a polite way of putting it.
yeah, little tie one on, but it's good for you every once in a while. But no, man, it's a fantastic contest, and that's awesome. You were getting the kick off. So you talked about like when you first start off, it's funny. Like I've talked to a lot of people doing the show and just in barbecue in general. It's like the first one they do, like first one I did is like it's either one or two things. It's like you do like a local yokel one contest, which what me and Houston did. We did like a local, competitor series, contest to kind of get our beak wet. Or you got guys like you who like literally just like kick the door in and like hold my beer, like let's go big. Like your first contest you ever did, so Memphis in May, like how
I don't recommend it.
I mean most people get their teeth kicked in, I'm sure, the first year, because I mean you're going against seasoned vet. Like, that's not something you just kind of ease into. It's a bucket lister for all of us on this show for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we started it in '96. Didn't get a call till 2000. We used to, we had a bunch of showmen and a lot of girls on the team and stuff that were big into, like, they have what they call a Miss Piggy contest and a showmanship contest, and it's singing and dancing and that kind of stuff, and to barbecue themes. But we did great in that. But the barbecue never so much until 2000. The first year I took over as head cook, we got 9th place in pork shoulder, and then 2005 we got our first place. So there's 9 years before we were able to really tackle a first place in the category. And there's a lot of we went through a lot of changes. We started on an old rotisserie made in the Boot Hill, Missouri. It's called a Morrow pit, Ed Morrow. It's a rotisserie charcoal fire pit. Really had to learn how to cook. For competition, you had to learn how to cook in pans in order to have good looking barbecue, good looking shoulders or ribs. It just wound up dripping. Stuff would drip on the meat, and the smoke would attach to the drippings, and it would drip on the meat and get it dark, and it just didn't work out real good. But we started figuring out the people that were winning were cooking on a backwoods. All the guys that kicked butt were cooking on a backwoods, and so we went and bought us a backwoods. We started winning. right away. It just took us right over the hump. All of our troubles went away when it comes to the cooking process with the backwoods, and man, we took off and started winning. Like our first contest, we got a second. The second one, we got a first and grand champion. And that was the first year. Let's see, 2000. Yeah, that was the first year I think that we won a first place. So when we started using the backwoods, or got our first rig anyway, we were using one kind of next to the old rig, but we got our first, put it all in the first rig. It was our first place, and man, we went on a roll for a while. We couldn't do any wrong. It was amazing. We hit a first, and I think we were 11th. But then we hit a second, and we hit a first and a first. And then I think we were a third, and then a second, and then a first. Just we were on a roll for a long time. We had a bunch of guys scratching their head trying to figure out what we were doing. A lot of folks are doing some of that same stuff these days. There's a lot of different techniques, but it seems like more of the old school techniques win at Memphis and May than just the a lot of the new stuff. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's people don't believe me when I tell them, but we don't even cut and slice money muscle with the turning box in Memphis and May. It's all pulled meat.
Really?
Yep. And I know most every other box I see, they do it. We don't, never have.
I'm excited. I'm like I said, obviously I'm excited to have you on, but I'm excited to talk kind of Memphis and May and MBN, kind of style with you. Cause we're KCBS cooks, and me and Houston from Tennessee, I feel like we still got to like tip our hat. And I feel like Houston, me and you're going to have to dip our toes in some MBN, just, Tennessee. Shout out. Yeah. So at Memphis and May, you cook one protein. You can only cook one protein. And you choose. Have you always done shoulder, or have you dipped your? What is it about shoulder that is like entices you to do that versus like ribs or whole hog? Because any barbecue would tell you, the Cadillac is the whole hog.
It's
right?
The whole hog.
Mm-hmm.
That
we're switching the hog next year.
Are you? All right. Well, you got nothing. You got nothing to prove anymore with the shoulder. So
right.
Definitely the whole hog is the way to go. But there's less there's less teams in the whole hog versus the other two categories, so you have better odds. But
we've done shoulder for so long, it really was just a factor of if you've never been to Memphis and May, the way they used to organize it on the river is all the shoulders were on the south end, the hogs are in the middle, and the ribs are on the north end. And it was more about geography than anything. We liked the south end. That was where we knew everybody, where our neighbors were. We had parking lined out for the south end. We knew where all the water access, we had easy access to stairs and the street. We always kind of had the same spot, and so our neighbors, we helped each other, and we just always had a really good plan on that south end. And so it was more about not moving away from that south end. But now that it's moved, it's at Liberty Park. We got great neighbors now, but I know pretty much everybody out there now. No matter where we go, I'm sure we'll have some good neighbors, and the whole hogs are just across from where we were now. And like I said, it's just time to make a change. We got some other guys on the team that help a lot more with the hog than they do the shoulders, and so it's a lot more of them and more involved and excited about it. So I'm excited to move into hog.
Yeah.
So
we're doing anything cool with it? You gonna paint it gold or?
No, we're not gonna stretch it out, man. We'll do a running pig for the probably for the finals, and then we'll do a belly up pig for the prelims. We'll probably just do two of them. Use half of it for the blind box and half of it for prelims, and then have a whole running pig for finals.
We have had a guest on the show that he ziplined one in, and then he'd gold leaf one.
I was there. I saw all that. Did you see the one we did last year at Pigapalooza? Last year we pulled off. If you saw the cover of the Barbecue News a couple months ago, then you saw the picture from it. We did a Halloween theme. It was Jason with a machete. Cut the head off the pig in front of all of the judges. Shot an eyeball across one of them's shoulder. And then we had blood, barbecue sauce, and it was. I did the whole presentation to all those judges without saying a word. I had a narrator that narrated everything as I was doing it, and all I did was grunt like Jason and screaming under my voice. It was awesome. We had the best time with it.
I love the like Memphis in May kind of NBN showmanship of it, because I mean, doing what we do, we're definitely like extroverts, and we're definitely love to talk and kind of put on the show. But that's one thing I like that NBN does that KSBS kind of is lacking in is getting the one-on-one communication between the cooks and the judges.
I love KCBS too. I don't cook as much of it. I think it's mainly because it's just we've got certain ones around here that we're kind of tied to, and most of those are MBNs. We've got a few KCBSs around here that we're tied to, and we'll try to hit those. But man, we're so spread out throughout the year between the year starts off with San Antonio, and then Houston, and then Austin, and then it rolls right on into Hogs for the Cause and Memphis in May.
New Orleans.
Yeah, so it's. And we won first place port this year at Hogs for the Cause. We had a great show in there. I think we were third overall. We would have won the whole thing if we were just had a little bit better on the fundraising side. But man, we killed it this year at Hogs for the Cause.
Yeah, and our friend Gerald, he went down there and cooked at that. He said it's a really good time. Bringing back to like the NBN and Memphis in May, specifically Memphis in May, because you've been around, since for a while. I've seen the different iterations of what it has become. Like, what was it back then versus kind of how it is now? Like, cause right now it's a huge spectacle. It's a lot, corporate kind of has gotten in there, not as much as like the Houston Rodeo or anything, but
no.
What is kind of your perspective on like the earlier days of Memphis in May versus how it is kind of today?
Yeah.
The way it is today, it's just a lot smaller. I mean, it used to be, back in the day, there were a lot of people signed up that didn't get in. So the list was long, and then you were all like waiting for that email if you get in. Now you just pay your money, you're going to get in. But you could win, if you won a grand champion, you're guaranteed, back in the day, or if you won a certain number of points, or if you were the top 10 the year before you got in. So you had certain things that could solidify your spot, but now you just pay your money and get in. So there's a little bit lost in that, I think, in the way of the competition. Over the years, folks have let having to win get to them and the moral aspect of it. And so in the whole hog category, there's a lot of cheating going on. But this year it's nice. They instituted a hog patrol. So they have volunteers go over and actually see the whole hog on the grill and see the meat come off of it and go in the box. So that was nice to be able to see some of the regulars still final, but get some new blood in there in the whole hog and in the top 10. So it was it's encouraging, but as far as the feel of it, it really hadn't changed much. You still got your big party teams. You still got hospitality that goes on. You still got teams that just show up and compete that don't get too messed up about anything else until Friday night. You still got teams that are ancillary teams that focus on, that kick butt in that and maybe don't do so well on the pork side. But I'm going to say the feel's a little different now that you're not on the river. Some people love the river, and the whole thing was about the river for them and the ambiance of the river being down there. To me, it's not. It's a pain in the butt. There's mud and tons of wind, and when it rained, it was a mess and hard load in and load out. I love it now that it's up there at Liberty Park, and it's a whole lot easier on the teams. And you're on solid surface, you're on asphalt, but
right.
And it's not a lot different other than just the whole. That's not as exclusive anymore. You just pay your money, you get in. It's not like now, you want to go to the Jack, you better win 7, you better win a grand, and then you got to get drawn. So there's a little bit more. I'm going to say a little bit more bragging rights to get to go cook the Jack because you have to win your way in there. So I kind of missed out about it, but it doesn't feel that much different other than that.
But say we're kind of a bunch of us guys from Alabama, through the rib contest. got an entryway into the Memphis in May next year. So we're putting a team together to cook it for the first time next year, and we're excited about it. So as you know, a veteran, seasoned vet like yourself, what is some advice you could give some guys like us who's going to be cooking Memphis in May for the first time next year? You know, going into it coming from KCBS cooks to MBN cooks. I mean, you know, we're similar but not the same.
Yeah.
When it comes to the two, what would you say that, you know, give some advice to some newbies like us?
Are you going to cook ribs?
Yeah, ribs.
Yeah. I had a team, some buddies of mine from Louisiana that came up and cooked ribs for the first time this year, and I warned them not to cook spare ribs, and they did.
Sure.
But I think you still got like 7th or 8th. They still killed it. But if you do, that tells me don't be afraid to cook spare ribs, but don't cook spare ribs for the blind. You can do spare ribs on site, but you need to turn back ribs in for the blind. That's what's expected. You can't talk your way out of it. You can't convince them about other than anything about what they see in that box. So if you're going to do it, back ribs are expected. They need to be cut down so they fit in the box and look nice, so they're easy to put in the box. You take some of the curve out of them and cut them down so they'll kind of shingle in the box real nice, you know. So do back ribs for the preliminary blind turn in, and then do your spare ribs for your on-site, because you can sell them. You know, you can hype them up and sell them. Hey, we're do spare ribs because this is what we cook. It's what we do best, and that's what I told them, and they did it, and they did great. But they got killed in the blind. If they'd have done that in the blind, they'd have been right up there. So
you're saying, so I mean, obviously, you know, you think MBN and Memphis May, you think of, you know, baby back ribs, and I mean, when I've seen all the boxes, I've done a lot of research, like friends with Mo and all them. I always kind of look at, you know, ask him for advice. But the double, so you recommend like doing, you know, like double cuts all the way across and try to do 9 all the way across?
Yeah, double cuts. Do 3 sets of double cuts across.
Yeah.
And I've done 4 deep.
Standard.
3 deep's enough, but 4 deep, yeah, it's pretty much standard.
I mean, do we need to really like fill the box? Like, is that what they're looking for? Is like a good heavy box? Because, you know, KCBS, I mean, 4-on-4, that's, I think, what industry standard, AJ Houston, for KCBS. Like 4-on-4 is one of the prettier boxes.
4-on-4 will get you there.
Yeah.
You see some 4-on-4, 5-on-5. You know, the fuller box looks better than the empty box. You want to see more meat than green.
Right.
Absolutely. And as far as like flavor profiles, when it comes to MBN versus KCBS, so I mean, you cooked enough KCBS, and you know this. KCBS, they're definitely, I mean, you're borderline diabetic as far as the flavor profile they're looking for.
Sweetness.
I mean, KCBS might as well be sponsored by Vermont maple syrup, because it's that sweet. I remember like a friend of mine talked to me, like, you know, he cooked both MBN versus KCBS, and, you know, he transferred when he cooked with me, and he was amazed like how much maple syrup I kind of used in my injection, and then, you know, my finishing and stuff like that. And he said, yeah, we don't do that in MBN. Like, what is MBN more savory, or like what are the flavor profiles that you think score better down there?
I mean, I think you can still stick with the sweet profile. It's not. It seems like the teams do put a lot more rub on their product in Memphis in May, so you'll wind up with a little more rub pre-cook and maybe less finish dust. You know, it seems like these bigger contests, you know, you can overdo it. Yeah, if you've got whether it be the Royal or the Jack, or whether it be Memphis in May or Houston, you know, you can overdo it. You need more middle of the road. You need to cook. Or I shouldn't say cook. You need to finish middle of the road. You need to offend fewer people.
Sure.
So in that finish, I say less kapow in the finish on these bigger contests, and Memphis May is one of those. You need a little salt finish to balance the sweet, but I don't think it's one of those where you really hammer it with that finish dust like you do KCBS. No matter what, whether, like I said, all those bigger contests, we really hold back on that finish dust.
I got you. What? Let's talk about kind of like why is it you picked the shoulder? And you talk about like people are cheating in Memphis. What? How would people like? Are they cooking like money mussels on the side? Like I've heard people when they cook shoulders, they'll cook like do KCBS style money mussels or collars for the turn-in boxes,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll have a pork shoulder for the presentation, but the
Yep.
box is really like money muscles essentially.
Yep. Yeah, and they're doing the same thing for the hog. You're cooking collars and turning money muscle in for the shoulder off of a collar, cooking an extra whole loin to cook it to the perfect, 146 degrees to finish and have bark all the way around it,
Mhm.
and then they're cooking separate pieces so that each separate piece comes out perfect instead of cooking the whole pig, which is the hard part to get each piece perfect. So, and they're doing it the easy way instead of the way it's supposed to be done.
Right. I got you. So let's talk about like your first experience when your first taste of success when it comes to Memphis in May. What was it like when you get that first knock on your trailer or knock on your tent? You made top 3. Like, can you tell me?
It's
you
funny,
remember
man.
your first?
The very first time that they come around and announce finals, they announce top 3, and you're waiting for the golf cart to come around and announce that you're in the top 3. And the first time that we made finals, I wasn't there.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I was gone. I was like up watching I'm trying to remember who it was. I might have been up watching Tim Bones Barbecue do their rib presentation or something like that.
Mhm.
And I got a phone call, and picked up the phone and, hey, what's up? Ah! Everybody's freaking out, And so I take them all running back, and so that's the funny thing is that since that day that I wasn't there the first time, I'm not allowed in the booth after the preliminary judging. I get kicked out with a
Yeah,
pocket
bad
full of beers,
juju.
and I have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
you got
never
bad
been
juju.
there when the finals has shown up. I've been at some other buddies when the finals place has shown up, but I've never been there.
It's so
I've
funny.
been there.
like
I've been there in Houston. It's pretty cool. When we get you, they show up with the Houston. They drive up in the golf cart and they got the sign and they're blowing horns and got balloons and banners and there's a band playing and it's cool. So
it's like a Vegas club.
No,
Down
you're like the GM though that can't watch the games.
Right.
Yeah.
Come out.
Yeah, so I get kicked out, and that's like, I'll get my beers, and I'm off. I'm out. Yeah, I'm gone. Easy, I'm out.
So what's like the week leading up to Memphis in May? Like, y'all do practice cooks, and like every time we talked to Heath, and we talked to a lot of people, and the amount of food that you guys cook for your turn-ins it's mind blowing to me. Like, I mean, Mo, I talked to Mo a lot, and he cooks like 12 shoulders, 16 shoulders for Memphis in May. Like, what is it like? Why do you think that MBN is such a large quantity? Are you just hedging your bet and turning in the absolute best for your boxes versus like KCBS where you're cooking 4 racks of ribs versus like I'm sure Heath Riles cooks like 16 to 20 racks of ribs?
Yeah, it's a little different because instead of having to turn in, you've got to turn in whole slabs, whole shoulders, and all that kind of stuff to judges as well. You got to turn in pieces in the box, but then you also have to turn in a whole cut for each judge. So that adds 3 whole cuts right off the bat. For ribs, you better have 6 slabs, to choose from when you go to start building your box because you're cutting the center out of each one, and that's 2 double cuts out of each one. So you better have 6 minimum. So if you can you might be able to get 3 double cuts out of there, but it just depends on the slab. So think about it. If you got, you can get 12 pieces out of 6 slabs. If you're just getting 2. If you get 3, then you're doing a little better. It's depend on the trim, depend on the rib. But you got a lot of end pieces that don't get used. You've got to turn in for that box, and then you've got a whole slab for each judge. And then if you make finals, you have to have some held back in order to have some fresh ribs for the final round. That's a couple hours later. So as ribs just don't hold that well. So you have to offset some of them. So that's the reason on the ribs. The shoulders, kind of the same thing. There's really only about 6 pieces on that shoulder that I want to feed a judge. And that means there's only 6 pieces that I'm going to put in a box. And so if I'm only putting 6 pieces off the shoulder, then I need about 4 shoulders, maybe 5. if I want to have one to cull, every once in a while you get one and you dig into it, you have to taste it. As you're building the box, you have to taste it. Because sometimes one just doesn't taste right. It doesn't, maybe it's not bad, but one won't have flavor and one would. For whatever reason, you'll taste one and nope, that's not it. And then you just got to push the whole thing away and bring another. So when we get ready to build a box, we're going to have 5 whole shoulders, and we're going to pick out those 6 to 9 pieces out of that shoulder for each one. And we're going to reserve us a little bit of our drippings in there. And we reserve drippings from ribs. Typically, we don't get any out of our shoulders with our process. They're vented so that they drain. So we save some from ribs from our caterings that we do for our hospitality, and we'll put that in our pan as sort of our jus to help. And we'll pull those 6 to 9 pieces, and we'll get those all cleaned up in the box. You know, it takes a little longer, so you have to think about your food being hot. So we'll preheat like some cast iron griddles or pizza stones to put our pans on to keep them warm. So, and we'll put our au jus in there. We'll fill our pans, clean them up, put the lids on them, clean everything up, reset, bring the box out, get your tweezers, your scissors, get your brush, get your finishing sauce, get your dust, get all that lined out, and then we'll pull the lid off of it, and then we'll finish each piece and dress it as it goes in the box. And so it takes, it'll take it usually takes at least 5 shoulders to build a box. Usually that's considering one of them you never touch. I mean, you taste it and it's just off. We always seem to have one. And
that's a lot of shoulders.
But I mean, don't get me wrong, all of it's good, but there's only 6 to 9 pieces that are awesome. And
But is it good enough you're going to put it in front of a judge at the level you want to compete at? Yeah.
So you only put the best stuff in there. So you go through and get all those pieces out. We've learned over the years how to go straight to each one of those pieces, how to hold them, how to dress them, how to finish them, put them in the box and organize them. And then when it comes time for your on-site judging, you've got, you're at 5 already. So you've got 3 more. Then you got to have 1 for each on-site judge. So you're at 8. We cook 10. So
you're still counting.
Man.
We cook 10. So there's only 2 left, right? For finals. So, and you really only need 1, at least 1 to cull for finals. So, but we always pull 2 for finals because you serve 4 judges at once instead of 1. And so, again, I said there's only like 6 to 9 pieces. And so we want to make sure that each of those judges gets to sample a piece from the money muscle all the way to the shank. So that without 2, you don't get enough pieces. And we do a sort of a mirror. A couple of the girls that have been on the team for a while, they mirror what I do in handing the pieces to 2 judges on this side, while I do it to 2 judges on that side, as to give them more attention and make sure they all get the perfect pieces.
That makes sense. So
it takes a lot.
Yeah. How much time do y'all have between, when you know that you made finals until when the judges come on site?
Depends on what your order of operation is. So if you're first, we've had 20 minutes before.
Ooh.
If you're last, then you might have an hour. You might have an hour, roughly. So it just depends on how you came up. So first, second, and third. If you're first going into finals, then you're first to go in the judging. So just depends on where you fall in on the preliminaries.
So, I'm doing ribs and smoke on a mountain. So how many racks of ribs would you recommend cooking, or bringing with me to start off with and whatnot? What total ribs to have for that contest?
I'd give yourself 5 or 6 for blind, and you'll have plenty. If you do 5 or 6 for blind, you probably won't need but 4. Then then you'll need 3 for your on-site and a couple for blind. So that's about 10 racks.
Okay.
10 to 12 is more than enough. You can get by with 8. I want to take that back. Sorry, I'm still speaking Memphis and May, not MBN. It's different. So you've got to have your 4 to 5 for your blind, but there is no preliminary judging on site. So you only turn in for finals, do on site judging for finals. So you only need those 4 or 5, and then you only need 2 or 3. So 8 is more than enough.
Okay, cool.
Hey, Mark,
Yeah.
going back to the distinction between MBN and Memphis in May, got a question in the comments. So I know for Memphis, you've got to do a whole shoulder, but for MBN, you can do a butt. So do you ever run butts for the non-Memphis MBN tournaments?
Oh yeah, you can even cook collar now for MBN.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, absolutely. And given the opportunity, that's exactly what I'm going to cook. If for MBN, I'm cooking collars. We're going to Galax as well. I'll run 4 collars.
It's a lot cheaper and a lot easier right
I
there.
was going to say that sounds a lot more like what we've done,
We've
where
done,
we turn up with 3, 4 collars, and not 100
4
pounds of
collars, and then I'll
shoulders.
run a whole compart butt for the finals, and I'm good. Some people say, "Oh, you got to have a shoulder." Yeah, I may run a shoulder. I've got one in the freezer. It's a whole different timeline, But cooking one shoulder in there versus 8 is a whole lot easier and a lot quicker. So we'll probably run a shoulder for finals, and then 4 collars for premium.
Well, let's talk about your equipment that you run. That's something that always our guests are very interested in. I know you're a big Old Hickory guy, and in Memphis in May, especially, Old Hickories are kind of I see them all everywhere, especially the DWs. What kind of equipment do you run, and what is it that you favor when it comes to certain contests?
We run backwoods at Memphis in May. It's just kind of our MO. Our flavor profile fits with it. It worked. It has worked and it continues to work. So we run it, and we've got a small compact trailer with a lot of firepower on it that fits in our smaller spots at Memphis in May. So we typically run backwoods for no matter what it is. But when a lot of the other contests, we'll run Old Hickory CTO double wides. We're taking one to Galax. We've got one that's got 2 CTOs on the front and a double wide on the back. We're going to hook up to that, throw a couple of drums on it for the KCBS side, and take off, drive 12 hours to Galax. But not scared at all to cook hog on a double wide. We've cooked a bunch of them in smaller contests. We just never cooked a hog at Memphis in May. So this next year we'll have a double wide and our backwoods hog cooker running in the hog division at Memphis in May.
I'm glad you said cans. I'm curious because, like I said, you're a Memphis in May OG. When it comes to that contest, what was your thoughts whenever you first saw like Brad and Tim show up the first year with that mega can, or what they call it, AJ, the super can, mega can, something like that?
Mega drum. Yeah,
mega drum. There you go.
Mega drum.
I mean, Memphis in May, like KCBS has kind of evolved over the years. I feel like Memphis in May, like you said, is still kind of old school, and that's what's tried and true, and that's what's won. What was kind of the opinions when people first saw that they're going to try to go hot and fast on especially a whole hog? I mean, that's a big kind of a big thing.
I think everyone thought that appearance was going to kill them. Knowing that you're going to run a pig hot and fast with all that skin and all that fat. I'm sure everyone thought, and I did as well, that they didn't have a chance because it was going to look like crap. Torching a pig that fast, there's no way that it can't look bad. And it does. It generally looks pretty bad. I don't know if you've ever seen one of them off of that drum. They don't look that great. And they don't get perfectly, completely done from one end to the other. But everything they serve them off of, it's perfect. Mm-hmm. So if like those guys, if you know what you're doing and you know how to find the perfect meat and you know how to cook just the parts of it that you're going to turn in perfect, then it works. But not everyone knows that. Those guys are so much more experienced,
right?
Than just the general competition guys. They cook so many contests and they have practiced that thing enough to know, hey, we can cook it like this. We're going to sacrifice some appearance, but we're going to cook it hot and fast as we can to get just this part, this part, this part, this part perfect. And that's what they do, and that's what they turn in. And you would think the appearance would really just hurt them because it doesn't look that great, but man, there's some smoke and mirrors going on. Somehow they figured out how to keep them look over here and give them some over here. It's those guys know what they're doing, how to build a box and how to turn stuff in, and they figured out that it don't all have to be perfect. Just what you turn in has to be perfect.
Got a little Penn and Teller action going on
with a whole hog.
Well, it's, you've got so many different cuts on there that you've got to turn in shoulder, ham, and loin. So you're looking for perfect temperatures that give you perfect textures in each one of those, and they're all different because they're all different fat contents. Shoulder has the highest fat content, ham has the next highest fat content, and loin has the least. So the shoulder and the ham both are tough as well, so they have to get to higher temperatures, but the shoulder can get to a higher temperature than the ham because it has more fat. The ham has to stay at a lower temperature so that it stays moist because of lower fat content. So you're looking, depending on the temperature you cook it at, has a lot to do with what your finish temps and your doneness is going to be right. So those guys, they're going to cook it hot and fast and run those temperatures up real hot and then let it rest back down. If you cook it low and slow, your finish temperatures in your shoulder, again, you don't have to turn in the whole shoulder. So the whole shoulder doesn't have to be perfect, just the parts you want to turn in. So depending, if you're going to trim it back to where you're going to turn the money muscle in out of the shoulder, then that's the part you got to focus your heat on. And that's the part you got to hit that perfect 204 on or whatever it is. If you're cooking lower temperatures, you're going to be, your money muscle is probably going to be somewhere closer to 195, 196, where it's super tender if you've cooked it for 18 hours. So if you're turning money muscle and some shank, well, that whole center part that's harder to cook ain't going to be tender, but that's okay. You just have to have a plan and know that I'm turning money muscle and shank, or money muscle in the part of the brisket on the shoulder, money muscle or closer to the, on the other side, closer to the jowl. Decide what you're going to turn in and figure out how to concentrate your efforts to get that perfect. Because you're not going to get that hog cooked perfectly from money muscle to shank. Something's going to sacrifice depending on how you cook it. Same thing with the loin. The loin's super tender, has to be cooked to lower temperatures or it'll get tough and dry. So you really can't finish it higher than about 148, 149. You don't want it over 150. I've seen some 150 still juicy, but texture starts going down.
All right, so 140.
Yeah, and it's hard because you're cooking something that wants to cook faster because it's the loin's this big, the shoulder's this big.
Sure.
So that loin's going to cook faster. So you have to use alternative methods to slow the way that thing cooks down. So you've got to put some extra meat packed around there. Not only do you have to put extra meat packed around there, you have to change that meat out as that meat gets hot. You have to have more cold meat to put on there. You have to have some way to insulate those portions and monitor the temperature of that loin to make sure that as it starts to get up too hot, pull that off there, put some cold on, and you can just bring that temperature right back down. And you can keep it hovering above the danger zone so that it doesn't have any spoilage, but then not allow it to finish higher than around one. We don't like it over 147. And if you do that, you have those other meats in tow that are cold that you can swap out. Some people use insulating blankets. Some people use extra meat. Some people use fat caps. Some people use butterfly loins. Some people use butterfly butts. Some people use bacon slabs. I mean, tons of different things people use to seal that center section of loin to make sure that it doesn't overcook. And that's the key part. If you've got dry loin, you're done. You're not doing anything. So you've got to protect that loin. Ham has to stay at lower temperature. So if you've got a lower, cooler side of the grill, the ham needs to stay on the cooler end. So that your finished temp on the shoulder, it might be, low and slow might be 185, 190 max. Finished temp on that ham needs to be down to 178, 184, somewhere in between there. Cooked low and slow. Hot and fast, those numbers are going up, but we never do that. So those are the numbers that we kind of look for, and the loins never go to 146. So same deal. You're going to smoke it to some color, and you're going to wrap it up to maintain color and to expedite the cook. But where you really have to plan on, a little technique is making sure that your shoulders cook faster than your hams and your loins cook slower than all of it.
Let's kind of shift away from MBN. Like I said, you've been super successful and cooked a wide spectrum of barbecue across the country. What was your experience like when you won the Houston Rodeo? Because that's super exclusive. I mean, that's almost as hard to get in as the Jack.
It's rare air.
Just because you got be, Bill Gates rich or, get invited the hired gun, like I'm sure, you were. What's kind of the Houston rodeo versus some of the other contests you've cooked?
Man, it's totally different. And it was a deal that when we were down in Houston with Operation Barbecue Relief during the floods, one of the guys, mentioned something to the mayor about a bucket list and wanted to cook the rodeo. And what did he do? Send us an invitation to cook the rodeo. So he put a team together, and I was one of the guys on the team. So, it's totally different in that you're cooking, you're cooking Texas style, half chicken, ribs, brisket. Difference is that you're only allowed to cook 2 briskets, 2 slabs of ribs, and 2 chickens.
Okay.
You can't cook more than that. And the way they monitor it is they have, you've got an ambassador that will have 3 other teams, maybe 2, but they have a lot of emphasis on their committee. Their Houston Rodeo Committee. Those people take a lot of pride in being on there, and they have a lot of meetings. They do a lot of work throughout the year, and they wear their orange vests proud because they're on the committee, and they work hard. And those people will show up and say, this is your team, right? Okay. Well, here are your tags, and they want to see your meat, and they want to make sure that it's cold and it's clean and it's fresh, and they're going to watch you cut it open and trim it, and they're going to install a shipping container tag in that meat, 2 per category. There'll be a metal shipping container with a serial number on it. They're going to write that number down, and then they're going to go. And then come time to cook it, you can cook it and do whatever you want after that. They're going to come back and they're going to say, you're going to be judged for brisket at turn-in time starts at 10:30. I'll be here at 10:15. So you can't do anything to that brisket until they get there. Meaning you can cook it and finish it, but it has to be on the pit, ready to go when they get there. And they're going to want to see that brisket on the pit. They're going to want to look at that number, check that number off against their records. You can cut it off at that point. They're going to watch you slice it and put it in the box. And after you slice it, it has to go in the box. You can't do, unless it goes back to the grill, you can't do anything else to it. So they're going to watch all that. They watch it go in the box. You got to put 10 slices in there. But again, they sit there and watch everything. And if they have a problem with something, they'll tell you. Once it's all in the box, they close it up, they seal it with tape, write the number on it, and then you walk with the ambassador to turn in, every category. So
are you going flat slices in and burn ends, or are you just doing slices?
Only 10 slices are allowed.
Okay.
That's all that they allow is 10 slices. And then on the ribs, they want 10 bones. So 5 on 5 is what.
And then chicken is knife and fork turn in, right?
Chicken is half chicken. Years past, until last year, they allowed you to turn. You had to turn in one entire half chicken, and the boxes are little, so you got to pick a little bird. I mean, those little Springer Mountain birds are perfect. The little 3 1/4 pounders are perfect. So you get one entire half chicken. It has to look good, and then you could cut up some of your other chicken and put it in the box and arrange it. In the years past, that's what we always did. This last year, they didn't allow any extra pieces, only the half chicken.
So are you doing tiger stripe chicken? Is that pretty universal down there?
We always kind of put we always put the lines one direction on them. That's right.
So let's kind of move around again. Like I said, I don't want to focus so much, purely on these. I mean, we could talk for 2 hours on Memphis in May and MBN. We get the same thing with Houston Rodeo, but you have such a wide range of barbecue knowledge. I definitely want to kind of pick your brain.
But that was awesome. You're right. I mean, to go to the rodeo and win, we were 7th overall the first year we cooked it, and if we'd have had a top 60 chicken, we'd have won it the first year we cooked it. We had a 99th chicken. Our chicken cook didn't show up in time to get it cooked fast enough, and our chicken was pretty much raw when it got turned in.
Ooh, I guess.
And we would have won it the first year. So naturally, the next year we had a new chicken cook, and we won.
There you go, man.
I mean, obviously, turning it in raw is probably not where you want to be, but
pretty raw.
Is the temperature at the Houston Rodeo that you're aiming for on chicken different than any of the other series that you've cooked?
Yeah, man, it's totally different because you're turning
Well, Guns N' Roses.
in the half chicken, so you're turning breast. So you're shooting for 180, 180 or so in the thigh, and somewhere in that neighborhood of we like 178 and 155. That's kind of our numbers that we like to shoot for, and pulling it off, and it could be closer to 150 even if we're cooking it hot and fast. So it's a totally different deal because you're turning in kind of like whole hog. You're turning in stuff that's got to cook hotter and stuff that's got to cook cooler all together. So there's a little maneuvering to make sure that happens. But having moist chicken breast it's the whole game, kind of like loin on the whole hog.
Yeah.
So let's kind of rotate, like I said, to something that I know is near and dear to your heart and to all of ours. Your involvement with Operation Barbecue Relief. How did you kind of get involved with that? And what has been some of your experiences, dealing with some of the deployments that you've been a part of?
Yeah, man, it's as they've gotten larger, they've diversified their team a lot. I don't get as involved except during deployments and making sure that deploying assets is more what I get involved with these days instead of the daily grind and the cooking. And even when I go to deployments, I'm never the guy. I never cook. I'm the guy that shows up that's a cook. But every time I've deployed, the only time I ever cook is when I cook for the camp, when I cook for the other volunteers. So other folks seem to be fired up about it, and they get more enjoyment, I think, out of the cooking and the prep and the cook and the serving. So I've always kind of been on what they call the fast team that sets up and tears down. So a lot of times on a deployment when I've gone, we show up, we're first, and then we're the last. We'll show up to set up all the water, electrical, tents and trailers, skillets and, drains and wash stations. And then time it's all said and done, we'll show back up to tear it all down and make sure that it all gets back home. So early on, I did a lot of, smaller deployments and more involved in the daily operations of getting meals out. But the last ones that I've been involved in pretty much just go in, set up, come in, tear down. But it's, you've got more, they've got so many more resources now. They don't need me in there doing that. They've got a process and the way that they do it, and they've got an easy way to teach people how to do the things that they do, which is typically, depending on what they get donated, but when they buy barbecue to cook, they're buying to cook pulled pork, they're buying to cook sliced loin, those kind of things. So they've got a process, and it's not the way I cook, it's the way they cook to really pump out those number of meals. So when they come in, they know how to teach these people this process and how to expedite those meals to get those things out the same way every time. I'm a guy over here that's fixing the electrical, or while the water's not working, or unloading a truck or a trailer.
Yeah. I've had the honor and also unfortunate experience of having Operation Barbecue Relief come into our hometown, Clarksville, Tennessee, after some tornadoes. Unfortunately, I think you said you're from Oklahoma, which used to be Tornado Alley. Now I think it's shifting more our way. We're gonna give y'all a run for your money when it comes to tornadoes every year. But seeing that, like, a good friend of ours, Andrew, from A&R Barbecue, he hosted the barbecue, Operation Barbecue Relief, and showed up for the tornadoes that we had around here. And it was amazing to see kind of the whole process from start to finish. You want to talk about like very organized individuals and some very enthusiastic people with this organization. Like, they show up, and there's no BSing around. They're like, all right, boom, 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 boom. It's almost like military precision when it shows up.
When you're dealing with that much product that has to go from raw state to hot delivered state, you have to have a plan and a process, and you have to have checks and balances to make sure that you know how much to cook, and then once it's cooked, how to get it into the hands of people that are eating it. There's a lot of moving pieces, and they've really upgraded electronics to make sure that they can, as they're taking orders, it completely changes and bumps up those quantities that they're cooking. You can go and kind of look at the numbers and kind of look at your you've got to have somebody that knows what protein and side you've got available. In order, somebody's got to go and see what's there and how much you have. So somebody's got to be constantly doing inventory so that you can go in inventory and see what you have to be able to know what you're going to cook the next day based on the number of meals that are coming in. So you've got to balance the demand with what you've got in supply to be able to get out that many meals. So you've got to have all that information at your fingertips to be able to make it happen every day.
I got you. No, like I said, I mean, it's such a well, greased machine at this point. I mean, and for what our area was, it was a small deployment. I can only imagine like the setup that
The major ones.
a major deployment, something like that happens.
Yeah,
and like I said, unfortunately, we're Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, we're all starting to get hammered a lot more than we ever have in the past with tornadoes and stuff like that. So it's becoming an issue.
Yep. Yeah. It's when you go to some of the smaller deployments, you're going to get better food. When you cook smaller amounts, you can pick and choose the things you want to cook a little more. You can be more creative because you don't have to get out the numbers. When you're in Houston, you do 316,000 meals over, like 12 days.
Yeah.
You can't get real creative.
No.
When there's that much demand, man, you got to give them folks some pulled pork. You got to give them folks some sliced loin. You got to give them chopped brisket with what's coming in. You got to figure out how to cook, a truckload of chicken that just showed up. And it showed up frozen. Guess what? How are you going to thaw all that truckload of chicken and get it thawed out and get it in the summertime and get it cooked safely? Man, you would believe how that stuff, it happens. A truckload of frozen chicken. What do you do with that?
Thaw it out, I suppose.
Hey, we got enough competition cooks. We've all dealt with some frozen chicken. We know what to do.
Yeah, but this is 17,000 pounds of
9 tons of frozen chicken.
When somebody says I want to donate some chicken, you be like, it can only be fresh.
Yeah.
Or individually quick frozen. It cannot be frozen in 40-pound blocks. Well, this is what we've got. I'm like, respectfully, no, thank you.
Yeah. I will say this though, when it comes to like stuff like OBR and all that, like there's not a shortage of people that's willing to help, donate their time and resources. From what the little I've seen, I mean, you've been involved in it in a larger scale, obviously, but when it comes to disasters, I mean, it really shows out the barbecue community that's out there. I mean, for people who don't know, because we have some listeners that aren't the hard barbecue enthusiasts like we all are, how would you describe the barbecue community in your experience?
Man, like I said, it's a bunch of big hearts. Bottom line, very diverse. Because most people, barbecue is not their vocation. Most people, it's a side hustle. It's a side hustle at most, but usually it's just a backyard or a competition passion. Everybody loves barbecue, but because of that, there's so few people that are involved in it that use it for a living. You get a diverse array of personalities and strengths. So you wind up with a lot of people that are big hearts that want to help in different ways. And for those kind of things, it's necessary. There's, like I said, it requires inventory. So you got to have somebody that can count and keep spreadsheets up to date. It requires people that can talk to, people that have just lost their home. So people that are empathetic, people that can take orders and enter orders and, make sure that all the orders are in to know what the demand is for the next day. People that know how to set up generators and water systems, and people that know how to talk to local officials to position themselves in the right places with the right resources. So there's so many hats that have to be worn throughout all of that. Barbecue happens to be, one of those few common things that draws people that wears all those hats together, whether it be OBR or whether it be competition. Our team, not a lot of there's a lot of people that like to cook on our team, but everyone's got a different role. I've been the shoulder cook, but there's somebody that handles the team captain as far as organization and load in and load out. Somebody that handles all of the hospitality and catering. Somebody handles all the drinks. Somebody's in charge of trash and recycling. Everybody's got their job because everyone's good at something different. So I think it's a unique skill set that people have, and it's a lot more diverse in the world of barbecue. And you got so many big hearts that people are willing to use their gifts for barbecue in different ways. It's a very small, tight-knit group. I'm blessed to know so many people in the barbecue community across the country. It's unbelievable to think that I know so many people in so many places because of barbecue, and not just in the U.S., but I'm talking about we've cooked barbecue in El Salvador and Guatemala and Mexico and Germany and Spain, Italy, so many different opportunities to go. And we know people everywhere we go, and everywhere you go, people have the same mindset, big hearts and lots of capability. So I'd say barbecue is a pretty unique situation. You get a lot of people that like to party and have a good time. That's
nothing
part
wrong
of
with
barbecue.
that.
But at the same time, those guys can break down and get serious and get things done, and usually have the means to get it done. So,
like I said, like I was telling my wife, like there's, they have the Elks Club, you have the Masons, you have a lot of the Moose Club. You have a lot of fraternities, that's out there, and that they all do great works. And I'm not, saying one's better than the other. I feel like barbecue's a sense of community and fraternity between us. I told my wife, I said, I don't care where I am in the country. I promise you, I can get meat delivered and a grill, sent to me about anywhere I go, just because, like, if anybody's in any area, I can literally put, if I don't know these guys, especially on this platform and just in the barbecue community in general, you can put it out on the line, and I guarantee you I have a grill and some meat show up to wherever I need to be, whenever I need to be there. And
if I want to go cook somewhere in Alaska, I know people in Alaska. I can show up in Alaska and they'll hook me up with everything I need and say, hey, you want to stay at our house?
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? If they're in Mississippi, you extend the same, things to them. It's like you pay your dues. It's like if somebody needs it, we provide it, and it's a rare thing in any aspect of life or any hobby that's out there, that you have this kind of tight knit community that is just a bunch of great people to come together, and just happens to be over some awesome food.
We were heading to the National High School Barbecue Championship. I was in my RV, and I was going down I-30 somewhere in Central Texas, it was on I-30 somewhere in Central Texas. Had a blowout. Well, back up. I was going to Little Rock and had a blowout. Had to put my spare on. It was on my backside. I've got dualies on the back, and so I was in Central Texas after that. Had another blowout. Just happened to be right before a rest area. So I pull in the rest area, and I'm stuck. And so what did I do? I got on Facebook and I said, I'm stuck, rest area. I can't remember the name of it. It was a funny name, in just north of Waco. And I'm stuck. I'm in the rest area. Second blowout. Don't have another spare. Anybody around here know where I can get a tire? 265 R16, 15, whatever. And man, next thing you know, ding, 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 ding. Everyone's like, hey, call this number, call me at this number. And it's constantly back and forth. Hey, call me. I think I can get you this. Before I knew it, I had a guy that I've never met that just through Facebook, and well, I'll take that back. I did meet him one time. But he, right through Facebook, he just happened to have a service business that had an account at Southern Tire Mart. And he goes, hey, I got an account at Southern Tire Mart. You can't get a tire there unless you have an account. I've got an account. They'll be there in an hour and a half with your tire. I said, well, do I just pay them? He goes, no, they can't take your money. It goes in the account. I said, well, how do I pay you? He goes, we'll figure that out later. He said, just let me know when you're taken care of. If you need anything else, let me know. They showed up, fixed my tire. I sent them 3 or 4 messages. Hey, when can I pay you back? You didn't get an invoice. I haven't got it yet. Finally, when he got his invoice, he sent it to me. I paid his invoice. Who does that?
Yeah. That just goes to show you, like I said, I mean, all 3 of us here, we all come from different, walks of life. Like I do medical supplies. Houston's a big time lawyer and AJ's an electrician. And the barbecue community has so many hats that we all come together under one, umbrella. Yep. that is barbecue, that if anything needs to be done, we're just there to be there. And that's what makes me proud to be a barbecuer.
Everybody's happy to help, always encouraging how happy everyone and ready everyone is to step in and help when there's a need.
Absolutely. That's why I think it's one of the greatest hobbies, and I'll say it's sports. Damn it, we're athletes.
That's right.
Fine-tuned athletes. High performance. You should see how many 12-ounce curls I do per weekend.
Yeah,
it's impressive. It's impressive. But no, man. But hey, we're getting to the end of our show, so you know what that means. It's time for the Brothers Barbecue Supply Lightning Round, brought to you by Brothers Barbecue Supply for all your barbecue supply needs. Mark, this is the time of show where I'm going to ask you a series of questions, little one-liners. Don't think too much about it, and just go off your hip. You ready for them?
Ready.
All right, man. If you're going on vacation, where are you going to go? Mountains or beach?
I'm a mountain guy.
Fair enough. All right, man. If you're going to a contest, what is one thing you always have with you, and you cannot say your thermopen or thermometer?
One thing I always have with me at a contest, one thing, butter.
Well,
gotta have.
No matter what, every category gotta have butter.
Dude, we had a friend of ours that posted on his Facebook post is an inflatable butter stick. I said, I need that in my life.
And the new butter I've turned on, I'll give you guys that you can order online. You can get online and order it. It's the best butter I've ever found. There's nothing like it. It's in Wisconsin. It's called Hope Creameries. Hope butter.
Hope Creameries. Ooh, Kerry Gold is going to be so upset with me.
I ordered it by the case.
Isn't it funny how barbecue makes you a butter snob?
Yeah.
I know. I mean, Kerrigold wasn't good enough, so we found something better.
All right, fair enough. All right, Mark, you have many rubs and sauces in your line. Which one is, if you had to tell somebody that they can only use one, which one would be?
Texas Tornado.
Texas Tornado.
Our newest one, our Texas Tornado, is probably the one that's the most versatile across proteins for anything.
Got you. If you could only smoke on one grill for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Drum smoker.
Okay.
I didn't see that coming. No, not at all.
Because I can cook low and slow and cook hot and fast. If I had to cook on one, for flavor and for hot or fast or low and slow, and portability and price, I don't think you can beat it.
All right, man. If I'm gonna rank in order for me, which one? If I could guarantee you, if I'm a genie, or Miss Cleo told me that you're gonna guarantee you win another world championship, rank these in order of which one that you would like to win first. The American Royal, the Jack Daniels World Invitational, the Memphis in May, or Houston Rodeo. Give me 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, I think. Well, I've got Memphis and I've got Houston. I think I think the Royal would be the one I would want to win the first right now. It'd be great to win the Jack, but I'd love to win the Royal probably before before the Jack.
I got you. What is one thing you know now that you wish you knew at the beginning of your barbecue career that you could go back in time and tell your younger self?
There's more than one way to get there. Don't listen to everyone and think that it's absolute. There's more than one way to get from point A to point B. Everyone used to say there was only low and slow. Now there's hot and fast. There's so many different ways to cook and finish. But I would say probably more than anything is don't fret about the little stuff. The last thing you put on your meat is the first thing the judges are going to taste. At the end of the day, if you catch it early enough, you can fix any mistake. Anything goes wrong, you can fix it. Contests are won and lost in the last 15 minutes.
If you could change one thing about competition barbecue across all spectrums, what is one thing you would change and one thing that you would install instead?
One thing I could change about competition barbecue, it wasn't all so stinking sweet. It didn't have to be so stupid sweet. I've cooked barbecue for so long, and I've never liked sweet barbecue. I've never liked it, but you have to do it. You have to turn it in. So if I could make it where you could win a contest with savory barbecue, I would make a no barbecue sauce contest where you could turn in just seasoned meat with no sauce.
Straight Memphis style right there.
No sauce, man. You got to turn in just the seasoned cooked meat.
All right. Last question, and I want to try to catch you real quick. In barbecue, there's multiple it's all regional barbecue. You have, the Kansas City style, you have Carolina style, you have Tennessee style, then that little state called Texas down there. If you could say one style is the dominant force of all barbecue, which region would you put on top?
Man, I'm gonna say in general, Texas barbecue probably got everybody beat hands down, because not only there's so many, they've learned so many different ways to turn it in, and they cook a better variety of they focus on not just pork or not just beef. They cook ribs and brisket and chicken, all just one as good as the other, and it tends to be more savory than sweet. So I'm more of a Texas barbecue style guy. If I was going to eat barbecue, some of the best ribs in the world I've ever had were at Kreitz Market, man, and they had salt and pepper on them, and they cooked a back rib. It was one of the best back ribs I've ever eaten in my life.
I'm glad you said it. Last question: if you could eat at one barbecue restaurant for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
I don't eat a lot of barbecue. I don't eat a lot of restaurants.
That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna pick one, you're gonna eat. Where are you gonna go?
Yeah, it's not there anymore. It's closed down. So currently, from what's open, I'm gonna say it's probably up somewhere in the neighborhood of Kreitz Market, and it's not in Luling. It's in Lockhart.
Okay.
One of my favorites. It's really good.
I got you. We'll have to put that on our barbecue tour list, Houston. Up there with burnt bean.
I haven't been to the bean. If I could say that one, I mean, I'd want to say it because of the stuff I see that Ernest puts out. It looks amazing. That fusion that he does.
He's a savant when it comes to barbecue.
Yep.
It's an artist.
I want to go there and try it because of how different he does things. I probably would never get just a slice of fatty brisket. I would want to get the tacos the different things, the fusion things he does with barbecue. So I'd love to do that.
I'll tell you what, whenever us three go down to Texas and have burnt bean, I know that's going to be a very expensive bill, but I'll be all about it. I'm fine. Right. I'm like, I'm literally going to roll up like, can I have one everything, please?
But one of my favorite things, there's some good barbecue in New York. You got a hometown barbecue in New York. They do really good, lots of different fusion. So there's so many. I've been to so many different places and tried so many different things, and I don't really go out to eat barbecue. I'm just done with it for the most part. But I like Kreitz because there's no sauce.
Hey, fair enough, man. Fair enough. All right, man. Well, Mark, thank you so much for coming on the show, dude. Honestly, it's you're one of the bucket listers for us to have on this show, and you've been an amazing guest. Tell the people kind of where they can find you and where they can get some of your products.
Yep. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the social medias. Where pretty much you type in Sweet Swine of Mine, you'll find us. You can find us on our website as well. We're ssomd.com, or if you just Google Sweet Swine of Mine, it'll be the first thing that pops up. We sell smokers, grills, our seasoning and sauces and all the seasoning sauces that we use. We don't use a lot of different things. So we carry a small array of stuff that we order by the case and we use, and you can buy what's left. But we ship smokers and grills all over the country. We teach, probably 2 cooking classes a year. We haven't booked our dates for this 2 yet this year, but they're coming. Both of them are going to be in the fall, and one of them might be right after the first of the year in January. So be on the lookout. You can go and look and see our classes on our website, and you can also see any of our products on our website. But we're very active in social media. We hired a social media manager this year, so we spend a lot more time producing content. But you can find our products at a lot of national retailers and people that sell grills, like sporting goods companies. They sell sporting goods, and they sell grills, or they sell hardware. They sell grills. Our focus in distribution nationally is with hardware chains and sporting goods like Bass Pro Shops, Shields, Ace Hardware, Lowe's, Home Depot, or a lot of them. Like you guys have probably seen places, Tractor Supply, Rural King, a lot of those kind of places. But then also your specialty barbecue stores, they order from our distributor up in Missouri. So you can get it at most of your specialty barbecue stores. A couple of items you cannot get there, you can only get at our website, or some select barbecue stores that order direct. Is the Sweet Brine of Mine is one of those things. But certain, specialty competition stores do carry Sweet Brine of Mine, and also our Wilsonshire craft Worcestershire sauce. You can only get from us and a handful of other stores out there as well. But if you want to know where to get it, you can check us out. Contact us. You can email me, mark@ssomd.com. But you can actually find us online or in social media, or the next contest will be in Galax, we'll be in Pusakue, we'll be at Carnivore Carnival in Kansas City. The first weekend in November will be, or the first weekend of October. First weekend in November will be at Al Fragoni's Texas Meetup in Hondo, Texas. So that'll round out most of the competitions for the year, I think, for us, and then we'll hit it hard, starting with the Texas, with San Antonio Rodeo Barbecue in January, starting next year. So you can find us online, you can find us on social media, but try some of our products for sure.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, we here on the pod, we're definitely huge fans of your stuff, man.
You mix that with maple syrup?
Yeah, one or two cups.
Dash or two.
I gotta mix it. Put a little of your wash your sister sauce.
All right.
In there. I can never say Worcestershire.
This one's easy. It's called Wilsonshire.
Wilsonshire. I like it. I love, what was it? Some of the barbecue shows is like wash your sister shire. I'm like, yep, that's it. That's wash your sister.
Yeah.
But
Pepper belly chef.
Yeah, exactly. But man,
Mark,
that
Sweet Brine of Mine, I don't know how you mix it. I do pretty much 4-to-1 brine to water, and then I usually add another teaspoon of sodium phosphate. If I'm doing 1 cup of brine, 4 cups of water, teaspoon of phosphate, and then a good, quarter cup to a third of a cup of syrup.
Do you have phosphates in here already or no?
Yeah, there's phosphates in it already. Just seems like a little bit more. The judges like a lot.
Yeah. It's funny. I keep my phosphates in a little plastic bag. I'm like, if I get pulled over, it's gonna be straight, really hard to convince these cops it's not cocaine.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, one of these days I'm gonna have that conversation. And it'd be all right. I'm like, look at me. Do I look like I do cocaine? Come on, I'm too fat.
Yeah.
All right, but thank you so much, Mark, man. I truly appreciate it, man. It's been an honor and a privilege to have you on the show, and we're definitely going to be continuing supporting your brand and your sauces, because they are badass. And guys, if you're listening to us, definitely check his stuff out. Definitely check the Brian out. Check all his Wash Your Sister sauces and barbecue sauces, and check them out online. So, Mark, thank you again.
New Texas Tornado. It's brand new.
I'm gonna go buy. I want to go buy some. I definitely want to check that out. Yeah, we're gonna get it for sure. But thank you so much, Mark. You take it easy, buddy.
See you, man.
Hey, guys. Have a good night,
buddy. Now, dude, Mark Lambert.
Heck yeah,
Mark
man.
Lambert. Mark Lambert, everybody.
Mark Lambert.
Give it up to
everybody.
him. Give it up to him.
That's right, dude. No, man, that was that's definitely a bucket list here. One of the huge people in barbecue, and we were honored to have them here. And guys, if you're listening or watching us tonight, as always, we sure would appreciate it if you like us, share us, follow us. Whatever you want to do. Tell your friends, tell your sisters, tell your baby mamas, baby mama, baby daddies. We don't care. We're not.
Baby,
Hide your kids.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Come
Check us out every Monday night. That's gonna be hide your kids, hide your wife. Come check us out every Monday night.
there you go. I like
it. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight, man. It's always an honor to be with you and try to entertain you for the little time that we have with y'all every week. But that's all I have for tonight, guys. Thank y'all. Houston, it's good to see you, buddy. I missed you.
It's great being back.
He's not
Thank you for answering phone calls and returning my texts. This dude, he is like returning phone calls and texts, and it's awesome. It's awesome. It's good.
It's good being back.
We're gonna have him back. He's gonna be more barbecue guy. He's gonna be our barbecue guy. So AJ, it is time for a haircut. You are
Daniel
looking like kid and played out. It is.
Daniel wish he had my hair. Daniel wish he had my hair, and Logan, you need a pedicure.
Dude, I don't have any nails to pedicure. What are you talking about? I have nubs. I have like Lieutenant Dan's got magic legs. I got magic nails.
Yeah,
they take me anyway. They'll take me anyway. No, guys, but that's our show tonight. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. As always, we appreciate it. And as always, when it comes to barbecue, make sure you're always right on cue. Boop. See you guys.
That's all, folks.